Hey guys, this is Chris Sear. You're listening to Impolite Company. Before we start the show, shout out to our sponsors, King Edward's Chicken and Fish. You got chicken, you got fish. Get over to King Edward's Chicken and Fish. The Crow's Nest at 7336 Manchester in downtown Maplewood. Metal brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 10 or 11 to 3. Mom will love metal brunch. Your mom's into Sepultura. I don't know if you knew that, but I was banging her the other night, and she's like, I really like this Sepultura shit. I was like, I knew you would, Debbie. Also, check out El Chico Bakery on Cherokee at Texas. Empanadas, orejas, tamales every weekend. Speaking of tamales, your mom's into Sepultura. And that's why. Why would I do that? It's a great bakery. Stop in, get yourself a sweet treat. Then go across the street to Fortune Teller Bar. At Fortune Teller Bar, get yourself a craft cocktail made with our house-made bitters right there in the bitters lab. You walk in, you look to the left, and there's a whole lab where they make bitters. It's cool. Look at the ceiling. It's a very cool ceiling. No one ever looks at the ceiling. Go in, say hi to the owners. Tell them Impolite Company told me to come here and look at the ceiling, and then just stand there for an hour looking at the ceiling, see if they kick you out. I don't know if they will. Probably not going to be a sponsor after I suggest you do that. And then as always, Taco Circus, Taco Circus, Taco Circus, Taco Circus, Taco Circus, Taco Circus, Taco Circus. Located at the corner of Schiller and Morganford, just south of Bevo Mill, it's Taco Circus. Taco Circus.
Warning. Society has deemed a number of conversation topics as rude to discuss in polite company. Luckily, those rules don't apply here. Welcome to Impolite Company. The host of Impolite Company, Chris Sear.
Back to St. They didn't have an arch. That was. I think they're doing it. Yeah, I guess. Are we recording? Yeah. Is this on? My least favorite part of a podcast is when someone says, "Are we recording?" Is this on? It's like, why don't you know you're recording? There's a red light. There's an indicator. There's no red light in this studio. There should be a red light, I just realized, in this studio. That way when we record, everyone would know, oh, you're recording. And by everyone, I mean me, or maybe a guest if I have one in and we're talking. Or people walking by the door outside would know we're recording. People out in the street. I think that would be cool if instead of a light in the studio saying we're recording, because really, I just assume when there's a microphone, it's always recording. I'm way better than most politicians at that. Like, I know, if there's a microphone, let's be careful what we say. It might be recording or broadcasting or whatever else microphones can do. But what if we put a sign out in the street that said, hey, on the third floor of this building, in an interior location, someone's recording. That way people walking by would know, hey, that's recording. That might be an issue if I make loud motorcycle noises. Sure, it's an interior room with sound padding on it, so the loud motorcycle noises probably don't matter. But it would be good if that person just knew someone somewhere was recording. Maybe there's an esoteric knowledge. Maybe there's a philosophical gain. Maybe there's a sociological benefit to just being aware that recording is happening. Maybe the world needs to know you're recording. Maybe if everyone knew someone was recording something, we would all be more careful because anyone could be recording anything. Maybe that's solipsistic. Solipsistic. That's a hard word to remember how to say. It's one I read all the time, but it's not one you say a lot. It's also being wrongly used. I just thought it sounded neat right there. But yeah, what if there was an indicator? What if every time someone recorded? What if every time anyone anywhere recorded anything, there was a light in your home that told you someone is recording? it would never go off because everybody's recording something now. We're all pulling out our cell phones to record concerts that we're at live. Rather than looking at the stage, we're looking at our phones. So instead of enjoying that concert in the moment, we can watch it on our tiny HD screen with shitty audio later, where we're recording podcasts. Everyone's recording podcasts. Your grandma is recording a podcast right now. She's sitting on the toilet. She's remembering that time when you were a kid and you fell in the snow and you got snow down your pants and you ran into the house and her friend Eugenia was in the kitchen and they were having coffee. They were having coffee and a bundt cake. And it was really nice. Like it wasn't a regular bundt cake. It was a lemon bundt cake with a little bit of icing on it. Your grandma was good at making that. She had the old school ceramic bundt cake pans too. The kind that you didn't have to like ever clean with soap. You would just scrub out and leave it, and every bundt cake had a little bit of the flavor of the last bundt cake in it. And they were sitting there eating that lemon bundt cake with a little bit of icing on it. Drinking coffee, black, bitter coffee, not with cream and sugar, because Grandma knew how coffee was supposed to taste. And you ran into the house, snow all over the front of you, all over the back of you, snow down your pants. And you yelled out right in front of her friend Eugenia, who she's known for 46 years. They were in the Army together. They were possibly dating, but you never really knew about Grandma. But you ran into the house, and right in front of Eugenia, you yelled, "I got snow in my balls!" And they both laughed so much. She's remembering that as she sits on the toilet right now. And she's recording that into her phone, and it's going into her podcast. Her podcast that she releases every Thursday morning, which is just random thoughts she's had throughout the day. She's recorded on her iPhone. She's recording. Everything's being recorded. When you talk into your phone, you're being recorded. The government's keeping those. If you think about it, the FBI surveillance, the CIA surveillance, the NSA surveillance that Alex Jones is convinced is happening everywhere, all that is government agents recording private podcasts for later. It's exclusive content. It's premium content. You would do it too. I know you would, because reality television exists. We got rid of television. Broadcast television is dead. Cable TV is dead. Television is dying. We're moving to streaming services everywhere. Premium content being created by media corporations who know exactly what they're doing. Oscar-worthy, what would have been made for TV movies before are just being streamed directly to us now. They're from the can to the living room. Boom. They're being created every day. But in all this entertainment we've created, everything we've just sent out into the universe, everything we've turned into streams of ones and zeros that go from lines being scanned across a screen, LEDs lighting up in succession to create the image, the illusion of image. It's not an image on your monitor. It's a bunch of random lights blinking at you to make your eyes think it's seeing an image. Everything we've done, all these leaps in technology, everything that makes porn better than it's ever been before, everything that makes the ability to communicate information to the masses so much faster in a way to where now there's no filter, there's no check, there's no verification. It's just release the data, interpret later. Everything that's created this world, all this great entertainment, and we still have reality programming. So of course, if you had access to an FBI surveillance van, you would be sitting front row. You would binge listen to your neighbor Deborah's telephone conversations with her physical therapist. They're pretty saucy. It's unintentionally saucy. Deborah's not trying to seduce him, but she's been having this problem with the muscles on her inner thigh cramping, and she can't describe that in a way that doesn't sound vaguely sexual. She's not trying to be. She's not even into Tanya that much, but if something happened, she wouldn't complain. It's like most of the world. No one's into anyone that much, but if something happened, we wouldn't complain. That's hookup culture right there. Not taking a chance enough to ask someone out, but to like send them a message going, hey, if you're kind of interested, so am I. Otherwise, it's cool. No one takes a chance on anything. ABBA would not be able to Take a Chance right now because everyone would be like, why? We could just hedge our bets. That'd be a weird song. If the song was just, we could hedge our bets, we could hedge our bets, we could hedge our bets, we could hedge our bets. But it'd be more true to modern society. So yes, we are recording. That's the answer. That's the situation. We are not just being recorded, we are recording. In multitudes of ways. My Samsung Galaxy 8S is sitting on the table in front of me. It's recording, not because I told it to, but because the factory settings make it record everything going on around me anyway. You don't think that the Korean government told Samsung Corporation, hey, while we're doing this, go ahead and make this thing constantly record and send us every bit of data it can. And then Facebook is like, yeah, well, we're going to do the same thing. And then Snapchat was like, why not? Then, I don't know, the Wall Street Journal probably records everything I say too, just in case. Just in case I end up being important someday, which I won't. That's my goal in life, is to avoid being important. If you end up being important, you've done something wrong. Statistically speaking, more important people are important because they did something wrong than because they did something right. We prosecute more people way more than we elevate them. Unless they've done something serious. It's Impolite Company. It's the week of, well, I don't know. May 6th, May 7th, May 8th. It's one of those days. I know Cinco de Mayo was on Sunday. That's what I know. That's the date. The date is a couple days after Cinco de Mayo. My allergies are still affecting me. Hopefully I'm not just gasping for air into the microphone again today, but I will sniffle. So there's that. Anyway, I was traveling for comedy. I was in New York. I was a contestant on NPR's Ask Me Another. I lost. I was not deemed trivia god. I did not get a Rubik's Cube. I did get to go to the Bell House Theater. That was nice. That's a beautiful venue. Like, it sounds way better, or it looks way better than it sounds on the radio. Like, I don't know what I expected. Like, my echolocation skills were trying my best to prepare a mental map of the Bell House Theater just from hearing it on the radio every week. And I was not prepared. It was a really nice venue. It was fun. It was cool. It was a fun process. It was interesting watching. That was a 2-hour show when I was there. Like, they recorded 2 hours worth of material with us, with their guests, with the hosts, and it was pared down about 45 minutes. So hearing the finished product versus what I saw live was very interesting to me, what they chose to edit, what they chose to keep, what they added after, because some of what happened on the radio did not happen in real life. It was interesting. So that was fun. New York's very cool. I was there for a week. I did some comedy, met up with my friend Johnny Azari, who we'll have here in June for an Impolite Company live show down at the Crack Fox. Johnny's running a show up there that's free speech comedy, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's like the conceit of stand-up comics thinking they're somehow warriors in the battle for free speech, but it was fun. It was a fun show. He puts on a good deal. If you're up there, go check it out over at Emblem in Brooklyn. It was a cool time. I like New York mostly because it's so population dense that you could just sit with a pair of earbuds in that are connected to nothing and actually just listen to everybody around you without them knowing you're listening, and you could be very entertained for hours on end. It was interesting. My favorite interaction I had in New York while I was there. Well, obviously while I was there. It would be weird if I had an interaction in New York while I wasn't there. That would, like, if my favorite interaction with New York was while I was in St. Louis, then I didn't have a good time. So that's interesting. But anyway, my favorite interaction was I was in a dollar store, which is really just like a under $10 store. But I was in a dollar store, and I was buying a cheap pair of sunglasses because I lose sunglasses. I'm getting ready to buy prescription sunglasses because, I have bad eyes, and I hate the sunlight, and I like the way sunglasses look because, I'm cool. I'm a cool dude. I'm a cool dude who likes his sunglasses. But I needed a cheap pair, so I was buying a pair, and there's this old dude at the counter, and this young dude working the register. And the old guy like throws a couple things up on him, and the guy behind the register gives him his total, and the old guy goes, "You're charging me tax on that?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, we charge sales tax on everything. Everything gets sales tax." And the old man's like, you didn't even need to put it in a register. I would have given you perfect cash. You just put it in your pocket. Then you don't have to pay taxes on it. And the kid was like, "Well, I have to enter it in the register. That's how we track inventory." "Well, you don't need to do that. Then you got to give the bums money. I wouldn't give the bums any money. I could have saved some money. You could have put it in your pocket. You wouldn't pay any taxes. Why are you giving the bums money?" And the young dude was like, "I don't know, man. I just work here." And the old guy was personally offended that the counter dude did not just pocket the $5.48 or whatever it was. It was funny. I was just like, oh man. But then I thought of like all the great bars and places I go to where they never close the register. It's just an old trick. If you've ever been to a bar in whatever city you're in, because it's the same all over. If you've ever been to a bar where the bartender always takes your money, makes change out of a register, they only take cash and not credit cards. And they make change out of the register, and they never close that register drawer, that's because that bar is just making up their sales numbers for sales tax purposes at the end of the night, which is a very tricky thing. Not because I don't think you should cheat on your sales tax. Fuck the government, man. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're a small business, sales tax could add up. It could break you. I don't care. Whatever you need to do to get by, you do. Laws are just arbitrary rules that we follow because we decided to follow. But if you're in a business and you see them do that, that's because at the end of the night, they could bring in like no one's bringing in $20,000 a night in a small bar where they're doing this, but they could bring in $2,000, but they could claim they made $800 because there's no register tape. There's no proof. But it's a tricky thing because most states, they will look at what your sales are for each day versus the amount of alcohol you're consuming, because most states track how much alcohol the bar buys. You're only allowed to buy from state licensed distributors. You can't walk over to the grocery store and buy a bunch of whiskey and sell it in your bar. That's illegal. People do it, but that's illegal. And so what they do is they look at what you bought and what you sold, and they're like, "Hey, so you sold $900 worth of Maker's Mark last month, but you ordered $3,000 wholesale worth. Where's the rest?" And you got to be like, "Look, I didn't want to say this, but I got a drinking problem." And that's where it all went. Because that's the only way to get out of that. You have to claim you're an alcoholic so you can get away with the fact that you're just not telling them what you sold. It's a tricky thing. You got to find that balance. You got to find a balance that makes the state knows you're ripping them off. The state assumes you're ripping them off. It's built into the business model. Just like the IRS knows you commit a little bit of tax fraud every year. And that's okay. A little bit of tax fraud is very American. Hell, a lot of tax fraud is very American, but a little bit of tax fraud is allowed. So the state knows you're ripping them off, but you got to find that right balance to where you're not just like, there's a difference between ripping them off gently and in a way that everyone is and that they're cool with, and it's all a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and standing up, whipping your dick out and popping it on the face going, "I'm not paying any taxes." They don't like that second part. No one wants that unless they're into it. Like, if the state auditor or the state tax examiner or the state liquor control officer sitting across the table from you says, hey, I feel we have a rapport where I can ask you this. Go ahead and whip your dick out and hit me in the face with it and tell me you're ripping me off. That's consensual between the two of you. I'm not judging. That's fine. You do you. However, in most situations, you want to be a little more subtle. But yeah, so it's tricky to find that balance. Anyway, that this old man, though, was really upset that the counter clerk was not just on board was amazing to me. It was a beautiful interaction. It was beautiful interaction. Second favorite interaction of my visit to New York was 2:30 a.m. The dude straight pissing on the subway. And on the train. That was beautiful. I know a lot of people would be bothered by it. It didn't, for one, very well ventilated train car. Very well ventilated train car. Whatever was going on in that train car, air circulation wise, they nailed it because I never smelled his piss. I heard it for 5 minutes. It was an impressive amount of piss. I don't know who is in charge of making sure the homeless population of Brooklyn is very well hydrated, but this fucking guy, that's gonna stick for a few weeks. Every time I've been for a few weeks after, it creeps in. But anyway, this guy on this train, he had enough water. I, on the other hand, who am not homeless, who does not have a drinking problem, who probably drinks way too much coffee, that's probably counts as a drinking problem. But anyway, I was not as well hydrated as this dude. Because for 5 minutes between two stations, he just pissed the entire time in the corner of that train. But I never smelled it. It was good. I made eye contact. I was like, whatever. If you piss in my subway car, I'm going to make eye contact with you because I want you to know that I'm impressed and that I know you're pissing. And he didn't care. He didn't care, man. There was a complete lack of... I burped a little. There was a complete lack of not awareness. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not shame either, because I don't think he should have been shamed. But that was definitely, he did lack shame, for sure. I don't think he should have been shamed. I can't think of it. It's the opposite of being concerned. That's what he was. There was nothing telling him, hey, I shouldn't be pissing in this railway car. Nope, not there. Anyway, it was fun. You could see it on my Instagram, Chris D. Sear on Instagram. You could see all the photos of each cup of coffee I drink. I know some people go to a new city, they take pictures of the landmarks. They're like, oh look, Statue of Liberty, take a picture, click, click. Oh look, Gateway Arch, take a picture, click, click. I know people do that. That's you could buy postcards with all that on it that professional photographers have taken. I don't it's dumb. It's dumb. I'm sorry. I get it. If you're out there taking pictures with your iPhone or your Android phone, or maybe you're just one of these people that still has a digital camera, you think you're a photographer, you think you're an artist, so you're snapping photos of landmarks that millions of people have taken photos of because yours is the one that captures the actual feeling of being there. It doesn't. Stop. Just put the phone away. Put the camera up, man. Just look at the landmark if you gotta. Look at that. And don't take pictures of it. There's enough pictures. There are enough pictures of Carnegie Hall. There are people who were paid lots of money to take pictures of Carnegie Hall because they're way better at taking pictures than you. There are iconic pictures of Carnegie Hall that were taken years ago that still look like Carnegie Hall. And they don't need you with your quirkily tilted photo. Why do we do that, by the way? I know it's not just me. We all do it. We all take our phones out to take a picture of whatever we're taking a picture of. And instead of just taking a straight-on shot, we tilt the phone a little like we're recording a 1960s Batman episode because it makes us look artistic. I don't know. But the point is, you don't need to take that picture of Carnegie Hall. Everyone's done it. Just buy a postcard. If a postcard's not good enough, buy a print. Put that on. Put that up in your house. You don't need it on your phone. But when I travel, I like to take pictures of the cups of coffee I drink. So you could see every cup of coffee I drink in New York. Well, no, not every. It'd be a lot if it was every. You could see 1 cup of coffee per day I drank while I was there. That's the story of my trip. It's good. We're back now, though. We're back. I almost didn't come back. I'm not gonna lie. There's a point where I'm pretentious enough to where sitting in a coffee shop or a bar in Greenwich Village, writing in my notebook, part of me is like, man, this isn't bad. Then I remember you can't just live in a hotel. Like that's how they get you. Like if you're up there visiting and you're staying in a hotel and someone's cleaning your room every day, and you don't have to worry about like roaches or where you're gonna sleep, it's very enticing to make you think, oh yeah, I could just stay here. You can't. Because if you do, you're gonna have to figure out like a different place to live. Because the hotel's gonna kick you out. You can't afford that. You're not rich. What are you thinking? What's going on in the world? Ah, man. Avengers Endgame. It's been out for 2 weeks now. 2 weeks. Have you seen it? Has it been spoiled? Do you know the ending? I'm not going to talk about spoilers on this one. I know. It's hypocritical of me because I'm always like, I don't care about spoilers. Dan Humphrey's Gossip Girl. Wash dies. On Lost, they're all dead. I know. I normally don't care about spoilers. Normally, I would spoil things right away. But this one I'm going to give you. Like, it was 21 movies, right? 21 movies. I'm going to let you see the end without telling you what happens. But here's the thing. You probably already know. Like, if you haven't seen it by now and you go on social media, you've probably already seen the end of the movie, even though you haven't seen the movie. Someone has told you, or you have scanned past a BuzzFeed article or a Looper article where the title was written by a guy who gives 0 fucks about protecting the ending of that movie. So, I don't know. I loved it. I think it's a terrible movie, but I loved it. I don't think it's a terrible movie in that it's poorly acted or poorly written or anything like that. I think it's a terrible movie in that in order to enjoy it, you have to watch 21 other movies. There is no way a casual movie watcher enjoys that movie. That was my only criticism. Which, whatever, fuck you. Don't be a casual movie watcher. They don't need casual movie watchers. Like, they build such an audience. Like, everyone who's watching a Marvel movie is not there for the Marvel movie. That's the other thing these movies did to us, is they created this thing where, yeah, the movie was fine, but we really want to see the 30 seconds at the end of that movie. Like, every single time, until you got to Civil War. Every single time we went to one of these movies, it's like, oh, this movie's good, but what's going to be after the credits? What's that 30-second clip after the credits going to be? So they created this movie that you have to see 30 seconds of 21 other movies that come at the end of the credits in order to enjoy it. That's terrible. But it was great. I got everything I needed out of it. It was the right amount of action. It was the right amount of drama. I cried a little. I laughed a lot. It was fun. And it was upbeat on the end. I didn't walk out of it like ready to shoot myself in the head like I did with Infinity War. I wasn't hopeless. I wasn't like sitting there like, how do I even live in this world today? It didn't bother me. It was a good movie, but a terrible movie at the same time. That's just accept it. If you're like, oh, the greatest movie ever, you're wrong. Like, you're just wrong. Any movie that requires you to have an in-depth knowledge of a specific fandom in order to understand is a bad movie, but also a good movie. Game of Thrones is in its final season. We're down to like 2 episodes left. I could spoil that. That I would spoil because I don't care, but I'm not going to, because I know some of you are poor, cheap-ass bastards who don't even have an HBO Go account or an HBO Now account, or you can't steal someone else's HBO Now or HBO Go account. So you're just waiting for the whole season to be done. Then you're going to get your weekly trial. Then you're going to catch up on it. So you're expecting all of us to shut up for 8 weeks while you catch up. And while I think that's psychotic and also just wrong. I'm going to respect it for now. I know, and that's another hypocritical thing of me, because I don't care about spoilers normally. I don't. But I don't want you to be listening to this and for me to tell you all 3 dragons are dead by the 5th episode. I think that would be wrong for me to do. Like, all 3 dragons are dead now. Or I could be lying. I don't know. Which is it, man? Maybe just 2 of the 3 are dead. Maybe 1 of the 3 are dead. Neither of those are true because all the dragons are dead by episode 5. Which is amazing that I know that because it was only episode 4 that aired this week. But I'm guessing. I'm guessing by the time you listen to this, all 3 dragons are dead. I could tell you that Cersei's dead. Maybe she is by now. Who knows? Is it a spoiler if I'm just guessing what's going to happen in next week's episode, but you're still 4 weeks behind, so you don't know? Maybe. Maybe it is. It's been a good season. It's been inconsistent. It's been an inconsistently good season. Like, everything's been entertaining. But there are moments on this show where you remember, this is a soap opera. Like, there was so long between season 7 and season 8 that you just remembered the good parts. You just remembered the high drama. But you forgot about all the soap opera elements of it. It's like, yeah, man, we get it. This dude's fucking his aunt, and his aunt is Jesus. That's the basic plot of season 8 of Game of Thrones. That's a spoiler for you. If you haven't watched it yet, this dude's fucking his aunt, and his aunt is Jesus. That's all. Oh, and the dude's sister wears, like, a lot of bondage gear. That's cool. Whoever's dressing Sansa Stark this season, thumbs up from the fetish crowd. Like, that's a dope outfit. It's the same outfit every episode. So I kind of think she should have more clothes, maybe? I don't know. You're giving the impression Sansa only owns one dress. She's the Lady of Winterfell. Pretty sure she's got a wardrobe somewhere. Catelyn Stark always had more than one outfit. Come on. To be fair, Cersei also only wears one dress. What is it with people only wearing one outfit for this whole show? Like, come on. Have some clothes made. If I wear the same shirt 4 days in a row, someone's going to say something. Someone's going to be like, man, you should buy a new shirt. No one tells the royalty this. Maybe that's the problem with Westeros. Maybe there would have been more technological advancement in Westeros if someone had said at some point in time, oh, man, you should have 2 shirts. That's how economies progress anyway. Economies progress because someone wants another shirt. Boom. Fix your problem, Westeros. I don't care. I know that last episode of the season. I've already read ahead. I already know how it's going to end. It's going to be another dragon, and Jon Snow is going to be riding that dragon, and he's just going to ride it up and up and up into the air, man. People will be firing arrows at it, slinging fireballs. Cities will be burning. Jon will keep riding that dragon up, and then you'll hear this thunk and a crash as he breaks through the hull of whatever spaceship this whole show takes place on. And he rides that dragon into space where they both freeze and they turn into icicles. And they die in the vacuum of space. And then that creates a problem on the inside of the ship because it's depressurizing. So everyone left alive in Westeros is slowly sucked out through that hole. And then the aliens who have been keeping all of these Westerosi on this ship for 10,000 years, just watching them like some kind of science experiment. They'd be like, how did we not figure out that could happen? Yo, who was in charge of the ship's force fields to make sure the dragons didn't fly through? And that alien was like, I don't know, man. I was over in Westworld, and I forgot about this. What if Game of Thrones ties to Westworld? Also, when does Westworld come back on? Jesus Christ. There's so much I need to know about television. This is what I get for not watching a lot of television anymore. Like, I'm too behind. Let's see, what else? There's been a lot in the last couple of years. I watched the Beyonce concert on Netflix. You should watch the Beyonce. It's not just a concert. It's like a film, I know, but I didn't care about the film part. I just wanted the concert part. It was good. Now I don't have to see Beyonce live. Like, I know some people watch that and they're like, I need to see Beyonce live. It looks amazing. It does, but I've seen it. I don't need to go see it live now. I've seen Beyonce's hour. Write a new hour, Beyonce. It was good. I personally don't know how you have Destiny's Child come out and not do Survivor, but that's okay. That's just me. That's how I feel. You don't have to tell me I'm disagreeing with Beyonce, so I'm automatically wrong. I know I'm automatically wrong because I disagree with Beyonce. I disagree with Beyonce on a lot of things because I don't think you should put a ring on it. I think you should just both mutually agree that jewelry is not an accoutrement necessary to have a successful relationship. So boom, take that, Miss Knowles, Miss Carter, whichever name we're using today. Ah, man, it's been some time. I drove to New York. I was going to fly. And so back at the beginning of April, I priced airplane tickets, and they were reasonable. They were very reasonable, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this ticket tomorrow because I bet it goes down in price. And instead, it went up in price by an order of magnitude, to where I was like, I guess I'm gonna drive because it'd be cheaper. That's a long drive. Like, I've done it before, and each time I forget how long the drive is, like how miserable the last 2 hours of that drive are. It's 14 and a half hours on paper. But when you do it alone, that last like 2 hours turns into like 5 hours because you're so tired by the time like you get most of the way there. And the drive home's worse. Like the drive there's cool because things start picking up. Like once you get past Pennsylvania, the vast wasteland that is Pennsylvania, the incredibly long, boring highway that is Pennsylvania. The highway that is Pennsylvania that costs $62 to drive across all of in tolls. That's ridiculous, Pennsylvania. It's like, first of all, they don't like you get there and you get a ticket when you get on the turnpike. I guess that's what it's called, the expressway. You get that ticket, and you're like, okay, well that's cool. I'm just driving through Pennsylvania. Then you get to the end of Pennsylvania, and you're like, hey, do you want to leave the state? If you want to leave the state, it's going to cost you $60. That's kidnapping. That is. If I did that, if tomorrow I had a guy come out to my house to work on my plumbing, and when he gets to my house, I give him a ticket. I'm like, here, hold on to this the entire time you're here. And then when he's done fixing my plumbing, if he tries to leave, I tell him, hey, man, if you want to leave the house, it's going to cost you $62. He can legally sue me for false imprisonment. He can sue me for false imprisonment. He can do that. He can have me arrested. That's kidnapping. Possibly extortion, depending on how nice my house is or how nice it isn't. I don't know. But no, the state of Pennsylvania can do that. Anyway, once you get through that, it's like picks up and it's pleasant. But coming home, you just got to drive through Illinois. Like, that sucks, coming back to St. Louis from New York, because that whole drive through Illinois is just super boring. I do a lot of jokes about driving through Kansas. And don't get me wrong, driving through Kansas is shit. Like, I'm sorry. If you live in Kansas, driving there sucks. Highway 70 through Kansas trying to get to Colorado is one of the longest, most boring drives in the world. But goddamn if Pennsylvania doesn't give it a try. And if Illinois doesn't just make you want to blow your own brains out. Illinois will be better, though. So here's the thing. If Pritzker gets his way, that's the current governor of Illinois. If he gets his way and recreational marijuana becomes a thing in Illinois, which, by the way, there's one state senator in Illinois. I forgot his name. I heard it this morning. Martin, I think his last name is. There's one state senator in Illinois who's really fighting hard to stop recreational marijuana from happening, and it's not some Republican asshole. It's a Democratic asshole. Like, you're on our team, man. Stop. But anyway, he's pushing to block it because he's worried that recreational marijuana increases the possibility of drug use, especially in children. Who cares? Shut up. Give us recreational marijuana. But this is going to be cool because if Illinois gets its way and recreational marijuana becomes a thing, driving through Illinois gets a lot better. Because if you get bored, you just pull over and get high somewhere illegally, man. You just hang out. It's like, what do you want to do? I don't know. We got 3 more hours coming in Illinois. Well, let's turn that into 5 hours and have some fun. Much better. Kansas, if Kansas had legal pot and there were dispensaries every 30 feet of that highway, I wouldn't complain about it anymore. Just like, for one, you could time travel. Don't drive high, I guess, is the point of that. But anyway, Illinois is really terrible. Like, I understand why people kill themselves on that highway every day. If you're on a highway in Illinois and you're feeling hopeless and desolate, call someone, call a friend, have them talk you down. The highway ends eventually. Eventually you get to Missouri, which I don't know if it's much better. Who knows? If recreational marijuana happens in Illinois, it's going to be awesome for East St. Louis, Missouri. Or it'll become East St. Louis, Missouri. For East St. Louis, Illinois, though, nothing will develop the other side of our river more than opening up a bunch of pot dispensaries that St. Louisans can go to. Like, if you've never been to St. Louis sits on the Mississippi River. It's on the border of Missouri and Illinois, and right across the river from us is like a super economically depressed area that's full of strip clubs and casinos, because that's how Illinois thought they could raise a bunch of tax revenue that would save economically depressed areas, which really doesn't work because strip clubs and casinos both only take money out of an area and put it in the pockets of organized crime and politicians, which there's probably no difference between the two. But they're both fun to hang out at, so I give both my money whenever I can. So yeah, so it's not a moral high horse. It's just recognizing the very realistic outcomes of opening those businesses is putting money in the pockets of the few instead of leaving it in the hands of the many. But how you really fix that is you legalize recreational pot, you build 2 more bridges to handle the traffic, you put some good coffee houses next to the pot dispensaries. Like, you do all the cool things that make white people come over and do drugs in your new city, and you take their money. And then you pass legislation that that basically vacates all the verdicts of drug offenses for the past 30 years related to marijuana. For fuck's sake, that should just be, you should do that first. Before the first dispensary opens, you should just go ahead and expunge the records of everyone convicted of drug crimes, whatever. Anyway, the point is, all these middle-aged yuppie white people and young millennials of all races are going to come across that bridge finally. They'll talk about how great East St. Louis is for a lot of other reasons that don't involve 3 o'clock in the morning drives across a bridge while you're eating White Castles in the backseat of a car going, I could really use a strip club bratwurst right now. Good luck, Illinois. But also, that'll make your state way more pleasant to drive through. Because right now, the only reason to drive through Illinois is to get to Chicago or to get to the other side of it so you can go to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania smells like cow shit, too. I'm sorry. Like, it's your home. But it also smells a lot more like cow shit than Kansas did. I don't know why. Is there a paper mill that's the size of the entire state? Like, I know the reason Wood River, Illinois smells like cow shit is because there's a giant paper mill there or something. And that stinks a lot. Like, that's unfortunate. But you need paper. You need mills. You gotta mill your paper. Otherwise, how are you gonna make your paper bread? I don't know. You can't make paper bread without crushing a little paper, right? That is definitely an example of me running out of things to say. Follow us on social media. Impolite STL on Twitter. Impolite STL on Facebook. ImpoliteCompany.com. You can download all of the episodes that you ever want, except for like really old ones because we took them down. If there's like an old episode that you want to listen to that's not there, how do you know you want to listen to? I don't know. But email me and I'll tell you, no, I'm not sending you the file. But it'll be a fun interaction. We'll both enjoy it. You will enjoy it. Your mom's really into Sepultura. That's it. I won't say fuck there. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Peace. Talk to you later. Bye. No gods, no masters.